All right. Welcome to episode 25, Just a Moment Ago podcast. I'm here with Brandon and JJ today, and we're just chilling, having a relaxed conversation. It's going to kind of see where it goes today. So, JJ, it's been a minute. How's it going?
Uh, Pretty good, man. Hanging in there.
Yeah? How have you been, feeling mentally and physically? It's been a few weeks since we've been in here, so.
Yeah, I've been pretty drained with like a sinus infection, and yeah, there's a lot of I don't know, like flu and all that shit going around. It seems like right now.
Right. But otherwise, you're doing good, like mentally too?
Yeah, yeah, not too bad. I'm definitely not liking that it gets dark so quick though.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Having some
it's like,
seasonal issues?
yep. I've always actually had that, and it's definitely really crazy now that I'm sober.
I haven't had that too bad really over the years.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't start.
I don't know. It just sucks because it's like not even. It's barely 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. and it's like getting dark completely almost.
Right.
You know?
Brandon, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Quit smoking.
Cigarette?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Day 16?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not easy, man. That's awesome.
Well, I was sick. And then I didn't smoke the whole time I was sick, so
Are you having like any cravings or
no.
you don't even care?
No.
How long did you smoke?
Oh, shit. 20 years?
How much were you smoking?
About a pack a day.
That's that's decent.
Yeah, no gum, no patches, no nothing. Just
Oh, really? You're
Yeah.
just cold turkey in it?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
You don't get any neck fits?
no.
'Cause
No,
I know
it's
quitting
not-
chewing, I used to, at times, dude, I'd get really cranky. And especially if when I was chewing and I couldn't find my chew, man, I'd start,
Right?
yo.
Yeah, it's really not bothering me too much.
That's awesome. No, it took me when I quit, like I quit and then kind of would smoke a little bit here and there. It took me a little while to actually get over them completely, but now I look at cigarettes and I just like
Yep.
don't like them at all. Like it's just not even good.
Yep, that's how I feel when somebody's smoking around me already.
Yep.
It's gross.
I've been away. I quit smoking cigarettes. I can't even remember how many years ago now.
Yeah, I can't
And-
even picture you a cigarette smoker. Like,
It's funny though because after so long, it's like you develop like an allergy to it. Like when somebody's smoking around me, it's like my eyes start burning. I don't like it.
I don't get all that right now. I just don't like the smell of it anymore.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
My
When I
car reeks
did
like
smoke cigarettes, I did not like menthol.
really?
Yes, I absolutely thought that was disgusting.
That's how I feel about full flavor, but
Yeah, I did smoke menthols.
full flavor cigarettes are just dry tobacco.
Pretty much.
Like there's nothing there. What? How can you enjoy that? I need to ask.
I don't know. I guess I've never really cared for mints.
Yeah.
But then again, that's weird because I chewed for all these years too, and that's wintergreen.
Didn't they have Marlboro Smooth or something that
Oh my
was
God, they did.
spearmint
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, that tasted just like a mint. That damn well that was to attract
Oh
children.
man,
Yeah.
every year around the holidays I would end up buying a pack while I was a cigarette smoker.
I forgot about those. Do they? I don't. I haven't smoked cigarettes in over 10 years. So do they still make them?
I think
they?
they do.
There's actually I read something about the government's trying to ban all menthol cigarettes
Yeah.
right now.
Is that? I always heard too. It's probably a myth. Like there's so many. It's like I remember they would say like every drag of menthol cigarette, your lungs bled for 7 seconds.
Hell no.
Yeah.
I
Did you
actually
guys
looked
ever
that
hear
up.
that?
I didn't hear that one.
You did?
No, I
Oh,
heard
okay.
crystallizing and all
Yeah,
that, lung
it-
shattering.
It takes off 7 seconds of your life for each cigarette.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's supposed to be.
See, I heard that many, 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 many times.
But then people say if running adds 9 minutes, so if you do both, you should come out at least even. Maybe not ahead because it's hard, but
How many of those things did we hear as kids that are just complete myths that we 100% believed when we were young?
Thank God for AI.
Yeah.
There's so much you don't when you're young that you just don't know better.
Well, the candy, you remember trick or treating?
The
Like
candies?
people would stick poison
Oh
candy,
yeah,
stick needles in them, and everything like that.
right.
I wonder if that ever really happened, as
Oh,
much as they tried saying
not
it
as much
did.
as they've.
A handful of times?
Probably. I don't know.
It is interesting though that it probably didn't happen very many times over the years.
No.
It
I
is
mean,
just one of those things people have a fear of.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you can kind of tell by just going to somebody's door, like, yeah, we don't want this person's candy.
So, do you guys know the origins of trick or treating?
Nope.
Nope.
Like, I mean, as we know it today, though, like going house to house to get candy, how that actually came about. No, not at all.
Nope.
Come on, you don't know your Halloween history.
Well, you know it.
Yeah, even
Well,
Halloween
back in the
expert.
early 1900s, the kids used to actually take Halloween was known as gate night. The kids would take gates from the local farmers, fences, and put them up like on the roofs of the barns. This was their pranks that they would do on Halloween, things like that. So, as the 1920s and 30s came and it moved into the city, the kids were getting more mischievous within the city. So they had to come up with ways to keep the kids under control. So the communities came together around the 1930s and they had separate houses. One house the kids would go to and get a costume, and then the next house they would get like a treat. The next house it would be like a circus trick or a card trick. And they would just go house to house and do this within the community. And people from the communities would pay for it together so that nobody had to burden it all alone.
Mm.
And that is actually how we got trick or treating as we know it. And then around the 40s and 50s is when the costumes and the candy companies and everything decided to jump on board. So it's kind of an interesting story.
Well,
Kind of cool.
I do know. I looked at it once a long time ago. The costumes that they had back in like the 30s and 40s were,
Those were all hand stitched though.
but I mean, they were beyond frightening. Like what they dress up as that I think is scary today is nothing compared to what. Oh, it's like I was like, wow, man.
Well, they would take
really,
burlap sacks and stitch them together and all. Imagine that is freaky.
Yeah.
Like, think
Well,
about
I
how that
was-
looks. Just a dark, like, that's just darkness behind it. So,
just look it up on your phone. Like, I mean, I was like, dude, this would terrify a kid guy.
But it's interesting just to think that that's how trick or treating like became how we know it, from just going house to house.
It's very what's the word?
Once the bigger companies got involved, you know,
Yep.
it changed everything.
When it becomes a huge, money making thing, the candy, the costumes, you see it everywhere.
Well, part of what drove the issues with
Decorations.
the kids doing things within the city was the Great Depression in the late 20s, 1929. So as the early 30s came, they couldn't afford to do the repairs and stuff throughout the cities that the kids were causing on these nights.
Oh, okay.
So they were
doing that for a long time.
right, and they had to figure out ways to get the kids to do something different.
Yep. That's no joke, man.
Did you see some little kid? I seen this yesterday. On Halloween, I can't remember what city it was, but he dressed up as Hitler and he was standing on a statue, like all day. Caused a bunch of people to riot and
Yeah, of course. There's always people that push the boundaries. Though.
Well, that kid's parents are really gonna get the
He might not.
front end of that one.
right.
Yeah, that's not good. Do you know more about it, like, or is it just
Not really.
just something that you saw, kind of in passing?
Yeah. I was on my way down the rabbit hole line.
Yeah. So I actually seen something that I was gonna, Dr. B.
He's awesome. Awesome.
I agree, but I seen a video of him that he's talking about tapering and then tapering methadone and then going on Suboxone. He actually was saying go down to 30 milligrams and then stop for a few days and then go to subs. Knowing what we know about methadone, doesn't that seem like kind of a high spot to stop at tapering?
Dude,
30 milligrams?
I switched at, I think, 2 milligrams.
Right, I'm
I mean,
feeling like we should, when you come off it at 30 milligrams, that's some strong withdrawals.
Yeah. You'd have to, either way though, you'd have to wait many days
Right,
before you even attempt to take.
but it just seems like, to me, responsible tapering is getting down below 7 milligrams before you come off of it. That's just my personal opinion from experiences and just what I've seen from what happens to people.
Everybody's different though.
Of course.
But yeah, I certainly wouldn't do that.
Right, not at 30.
No, yeah.
I was able to switch the next day.
Really?
Really? You didn't have any
You
precipitation?
got really lucky, dude.
The doctor told me I could switch that day, but
It was up to.
I was too.
It was at your risk.
Yeah, I was. Well, she's like, you shouldn't have any problems. You should be fine. You're on such a low dose that. I was too scared. I was like, no, I know how this works.
Right, but you didn't.
No.
That's lucky. 2
Well,
milligrams is pretty low though too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
That's extremely low.
I was getting kicked out of.
Yeah. So you were kind of in a situation. Always something with them clinics.
Man, I don't know why people don't just go to the doctor and get a prescription.
Because there's no education.
What, for methadone or Suboxone?
Suboxone.
Suboxone.
If there was better education, I would have if I would have known better in the beginning.
Oh,
but
yeah.
all I knew was about a methadone clinic.
And they do. They even though you have the choice of they always, it seems like they want you.
Like, do
to
you
be on
know how
methadone.
different some of our stories would be if we would have never been on methadone?
Yeah.
Right.
And I truly believe that
Oh, I
because of the
believe that.
difference in subs and methadone. If there was education back in the mid 2015, 16,
But even now, when they ask you which one do you want, they don't tell you shit about them.
not at the clinic.
No.
No, and that's what bothers me.
I put it in their hands, and
You have to do your own research when you go in, or you're gonna end up on methadone like a lot of people do.
yeah, it's. I've withdrawn from every opiate that there is, but nothing compares to methadone.
Yeah, it was hard for me to stick through my taper. Like, I just wanted to be like, you know what, forget it, I'm done.
Well, that's the hard part of tapering is the lower you get to, the more that you just like, God, this place, but
Yep.
gotta try to get through it. And then like with you having that hour and a half one way,
Yeah.
3 hour trip, round trip in the morning, you're getting even more agitated and frustrated with it.
In the winters, yeah,
Right.
it was just.
You're leaving getting up. What time did you get up in the morning
What was it? 3:30 in the morning.
I got
to
it.
leave?
No, was it like 2:33? Yeah, something like that. So early.
Well, the thing about the city you have to go through from here is there's no quick way to get there.
No,
If
you have to
take
do the back
interstate, you end up having to come back like a half hour to it. And
Yeah.
if you take the highway, you have to go through what, 5 small towns?
Yeah, Whitehall. Then yep, and you
Yeah.
you go through. You start in Eau Claire County.
There's more little
work your
towns
way
along the
to-
way too, but I can't think of
We're
what
on
they are.
37, not 12.
The Mondovi exit.
Yeah, 37.
Yep.
Alright.
And
The
it-
Oliva exit, sorry.
and it's not only is that like absolutely horrible for the winter, because it's
Right.
the deer.
Well, but and
was-
then if you take the interstate, there's no quick way there either. Because the
You'd
exit
have
you
to
take, you have to
backtrack.
come back, right?
My sisters
horrible.
live in Mondovi, so yeah, I know. I hear.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's a rough ride there every single morning.
Yep. For about 2 years, I had to do that.
And it's funny because all the time you hear people saying it's going to change soon and everybody will be able to get a prescription for methadone soon at home too. But I don't see that happening.
I don't want a prescription for methadone.
No, there's
Yeah,
no way
it's-
that they can.
It's
Like now
it's
that
too risky.
I'm on Suboxone, everything was really
That's
cloudy on
safe.
methadone.
Yeah.
Like Suboxone, I feel like I'm doing more now. I mean, shit, I'm in school. I'm getting all A's. I would never be doing that on methadone.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just prefer Suboxone. I don't know
Right,
what
that's
goes
what
with.
I'm saying. If more people would be educated, I think Suboxone would be
Well,
the preferred choice.
for one thing, it's less scheduled, it's less addictive, and it's
Less
you
suppressive.
can't. Yeah, it's a partial opiate agonist.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got pulled over and I didn't have my prescription on me, and the cop was like, I could take you to jail for this. I was like, or you could call my doctor. And he just let me go. Let me go with my prescription. Didn't call the doctor. Done.
Well, like they're saying, I mean, cops could be at the clinic pulling everybody over all the
I
time for
know two
dosing and
people who had
leaving. And
DUIs from dosing at methadone at the clinic, and then they got pulled over right after.
there's people that will pass out in their cars after they dose,
Oh
so
yeah,
I understand how that can happen.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, those people don't need to be dosing. Like, they aren't obviously ready to quit. So,
And they're taking other pills on top of it on a
Yeah.
regular basis, and
like, you don't go in there with the intention to get high. You go in there with the intention to get fixed.
Exactly, but that's where I feel like the people who do try to get on really high doses, it should be regulated a lot more.
mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be anybody on a 250, 300 milligram dose of methadone.
No.
I'm-
And I think it's ridiculous how they force pregnant women to go up and dope. You didn't
Isn't
hear
there a
about that?
reason for it though?
Yeah, I mean, it's to keep the baby from going through withdrawal or something like that. But if the mother's feeling fine, then why are you gonna force? One of my,
No, that's a whole subject that makes me sick to my
Me and
stomach.
JJ
One of
both
my-
have our own opinions about this whole pregnancy at the clinic thing.
one of my friends, the clinic was threatening to call CPS on her if she didn't go up.
It's just and it obviously if it happens once, when you're on methadone and all that stuff, yeah, that's understandable. But multiple times, what that baby goes through is just there's special doctors that handle the whole thing for people who are on methadone and pregnant.
I feel like this is gonna piss some people off, but I feel like as long as you're on methadone, you should also have to take birth control, because it's
That's
not
not
fair.
a bad
It's
thing.
not a bad
It's
thing.
not fair for the baby, dude. Like,
Not at all. Not
the
at
baby
all.
didn't ask to be addicted to opiates.
Well, I have the opinion that if it happens one time, that's understandable.
Yeah.
But if you continuously
Exactly.
get pregnant while you're at a program, now you're being irresponsible and you're putting the kid through unnecessary pain and an unnecessary struggle at the start of life.
Yep.
And it's not like asking the mother to take birth control is unrealistic. It's not harming the mom. It's not. It's just being careful.
Yeah.
I just wanted to try to see if there was something where I could just look up quick why they would raise it, but it doesn't. The only thing it really says is that during the pregnancy, cravings and symptoms can happen more often, and that's why the dose can be adjusted. But you're saying there's a reason for because of withdrawal
Yeah,
for
it's
the baby.
basically what that's saying.
Have to do more research on that.
But yeah,
I cannot imagine a child, and the child doesn't know what's, it's,
Well, some of the things that we've all probably seen with kids starting off rough and then being in rough situations
Yeah.
too. Like I don't know. It's tough when you start getting kids involved. That's a whole conversation, and a lot of people are gonna backlash against you if you start talking about kids too.
You're
There's
all
just
right.
a lot of
I just, yeah. Kids are my like, it just, I don't know.
we just have seen it with some of the people getting pregnant over and over again, so it just kind of it hits a little close to home when you see it with people you know and things.
yeah.
Actually, though, another thing, did you see that they're doing narcan classes for parents at schools?
No, I didn't. I actually
They're,
have my
like-
certificate. And
They're like 45 to 60-minute classes. You can contact like the Red Cross or somebody and go take a class and get trained on how to use different kinds of Narcan.
really,
But I mean, that's great and everything. I don't want people to think they have to have a class to use it though.
Right.
Like you don't want people standing around like I didn't take the class. Like just do it, you know? Like
Put it in his nose and squirt it.
But no, I think that it's cool though that because they are seeing more overdoses in schools, like the younger kids, it's happening more and more.
Right.
So educating the parents and teaching them how to use it so they're not afraid of it, because a lot of parents and people are afraid of it. They don't want they're not going to know what to do. They're just going to freeze up.
That thought
If you're
of that, oh, my kid won't need that. You know, that's a bad.
for one,
That
you
whole
can-
thinking, like, oh, my kid won't need that because he's not going to use drugs.
Right.
No, ugh,
you can get it for free at the jail.
yeah,
They have a vending machine full of
For anybody?
yeah. There's just a vending machine. You go in there, and it's full of fentanyl test kits, so you can test your own shit, and Narcan, and you can also get your certificate online, which is what I did. I actually have my first responder certificate and my bystander certificate. I was bored one day.
Nothing wrong with that.
the nurse at a nurse I know that works at Ellie Phillips, she was on vacation in Tennessee, and one of the waitresses just like keeled over in front of everybody,
That's crazy.
and luckily her being working at Ellie Phillips, where it's a detox center and everything, she knew right away what to do, and she saved her life.
That's awesome though.
Yep.
Well, a lot of people also don't know that Narcan will do absolutely nothing for somebody or it won't do anything to hurt somebody if it's not an overdose.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't affect you at all.
Yeah, it just reverses the opioid
Yeah,
receptors.
that's the only thing it does. So if there's no opioids in the system, it's not gonna hurt.
It's actually really good for people to know,
If
because
you're
I think
on
that's part of
opioids,
what
though,
people are
yeah.
afraid of, is not knowing the side effects of what if it's not an overdose.
Yep.
Well-
it'll act like a glass of water.
Yeah.
Let's double check that. Because I just looked too with that whole pregnancy thing,
Mm.
and I just said methadone pregnancy guidelines. It says not all women require dose increases during pregnancy, and doses adjustments should be made on a clinical basis.
Right, that's what it was. That's what I was saying, how
Yeah.
it was based on the woman's cravings and withdrawal she's having.
I don't. All I know is my friend told me that they forced her to go up, threatened to call CPS if she didn't.
Maybe she was maybe her dose wasn't 24 hours and they knew the kid was going through withdrawal. Because like what I used to do at the clinic, my
You're right,
dose,
though.
you-
Narcan has no side effects. That's awesome.
that's good.
Someone who does not have opiates in their body, so it's safe to give someone Narcan if you think they may have overdosed on opioids but aren't sure.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JJ
So
could
you
do
don't
one right now and
Yeah.
be just fine.
so you don't have to talk to somebody if you walk up on somebody and be like, I don't know. Just try it, and if they come back out, then you did it, but
So there's nobody's allergic to it?
Just
Well,
do
what
a
I'm
drive-by.
what I'm thinking though with that situation was like I used to keep my dose really low. Like it wasn't it didn't last 24 hours. I'd go into withdrawal early in the morning. And eventually the doctor was like, listen, as long as you're going into withdrawal at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning before you get here, now you're having cravings in the morning, you're thinking about using, you're not going to get over it. You need to get your dose level, stop thinking about it in the morning, and you'll start to move forward and heal, which I have. Now I've gotten stable and I've actually started to lower it again. I'm tapering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
I've
do you
been
get now?
tapering for a while. I've been tapering for 180 days now.
Nice, dude.
But I mean, I'm going super slow because of post-acute withdrawal.
Yeah.
But I got to the point where I'm able to be on the other side of it again, which is really important with your program,
Yeah.
Slow and steady wins the
Here's
race.
something that I want people to think about. Most people, when they go into a program, they get to like 150 and then they sit there forever. And then when they're finally ready, they start 5 milligrams every 2 weeks, 5 milligrams a month, whatever. But then when they get really low, they feel like crap, they come off it, they're not feeling good, it's a whole mess. Like, what if instead of that way, you get up on your dose, you just stay there for a short time till you're pretty, you're level, and then just taper really, really slow through those years instead. Just a couple milligrams a year, just slowly bring it down so that when you get down, you're used to not having that feeling. You're gonna have time to heal. That your brain will have healed throughout that
Mm-hmm.
rather than just pull it away, pull it away, pull it away, and hope that you get better quickly.
Yeah.
This is something that I think the perspective needs to be changed on how
Well,
tapering and the programs are in some ways.
it needs to stop. It needs to start with. It's not just about money.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all these clinics are right now. It's just about money. How
But
many people can we get to dose?
even if they were to do it that way, they're going to keep people the same amount of time. We're talking the same amount of time, but we're just talking about tapering during that time instead of sitting in one spot forever.
But tapering means leaving
Getting
eventually.
stagnant. Yeah.
Going up means you're staying for life.
But I'm saying a lot of people get to a certain point and then just sit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means they're just there. That it's
They put it on their.
security for the clinic.
They're like, they put it in their mind, like, oh, maybe I'll go down one day, maybe next week, and then like, a whole year passes and nothing's changed.
That's what I'm saying. But then one day when they decide to, now they're doing it at 5, 10 milligrams at a time, when you could have been just doing it at a steady pace and heal. Because one big thing I'm learning about opioids is you have to heal slow. You have
Yeah.
to take
Yeah.
that away super slow and give your receptors time to heal as you go.
But
And
that goes with the doctors.
that's not just
That's on them. 'Cause
with opiates either. Is these psych meds that are, some of them are not even narcotic, cause serious problems.
Yeah, what's that you want to talk about? Akathasia?
Akathisia.
Akathesia.
And it's
Restlessness.
it's like you get
like can't
restless
sit
leg
still.
syndrome,
Oh,
but
yeah,
your
yeah.
entire body, and it's like an internal trembling.
Is that what it's called? I get it in my chest when I go through withdrawals.
Yeah,
It feels just like restless leg, but it's in my chest.
isn't it horrible?
Oh my god.
But
dude. Yeah.
this goes on for sometimes years, and it really it mainly is from like benzodiazepines and SSRIs like Prozac and
Gabapen.
oh yep,
That's what kills it for me. It gets rid of it. Like I can actually go back to sleep with it if I had.
that has a withdrawal too though.
Yeah, I know.
But I
don't think it's as severe though.
no, it's that's actually that the gabapentin's being talked about more. I don't understand, like some people they say it's abusable, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's personally. I don't think it's a painkiller. They think it's a nerve painkiller or whatever.
Yeah,
It does.
That's what it's.
It never did anything like that for me.
That's what it's.
Made me feel really weird, actually, like out
I
of
know.
it.
It does make you feel weird. I don't really like it. That's why I just took it before bed.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But yeah, that akathisia is such a serious thing. Like, most people commit suicide,
I see.
and
Well,
a lot of
mean,
times they
I-
don't want to admit that it's from the psych meds.
they need to bring back kratom.
Kratom.
Yes.
Yep.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely, dude. That
I mean, why are they? That's another one of those touchy
kratom kept
things.
me from being
like-
a junkie with a needle in my arm, man.
yeah.
Well, it's
I
a
mean-
plant. I mean,
Yeah.
I get if it's used responsibly. I don't anything natural. I am all for, as opposed to anything that's made in a lab.
Right.
It definitely,
You know how much I hate the pharmaceutical industry and all that.
it definitely kept me from using needles ever.
I mean, I'm not going to say any names, but I do see people at the clinic with that akathisia really bad, where they're like, when they show up, they're rocking. When they leave, they're rocking. Like, that's got to be uncomfortable just all the time.
It's
Yeah, because the only time I ever got it when I was laying down. If I would get up, I would not be able to lay down at all during withdrawal.
and it's so not talked about. Had I not done the study and the research, and thankfully there's a psychiatrist that's speaking out on the damage of all these SSRIs and I would have not known, and I could see why people they just it's so sad that how many people have committed suicide because of it, and they didn't know it was because of all these drugs.
Right.
Drugs that are not even narcotics. Like, how many people are on an antidepressant?
I know, but it's they change your brain chemistry a lot
100%.
too, though, and it's really tough
100%.
because I don't think people are fully aware of how much they
Mm-mm.
do.
No, not even the doctors
You
know.
know, there's all these warnings on the label and stuff, and that should tell you right there that something's not right.
And that's where I will, for the rest of my life, I will say that to put a child who's 5 to even like 18, whatever, on something like Adderall,
Yeah.
that is so, when your brain's developing, that's the last thing your body needs is a
Mhm.
Schedule 2 narcotic.
Right.
I feel like that was a big part of my issue. I swear to God, I was a test dummy for these
Well,
doctors
our age was,
when I was 8 years old.
yeah, in elementary school, I remember
Yep.
the school nurse line was as long as the lunch line.
Yep.
You know, Ritalin was this like miracle drug.
I couldn't swallow my pills, so my grandma would have to bring my pill to me every day, crush it up in 2 spoons with a spoonful of jelly.
Yeah, I had that same problem because it would make me sick.
And that's how I had to take my pill every day.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because I hated taking pills.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess I'm thankful that I didn't have to go through that part of when I was a kid. Like I never had to take any medications, and I did have to have surgery, but I never had to take any medications.
Well, and it yeah, I wouldn't need it on the weekends, and then when I would take it on a Monday, I would get these like horrible migraines, like to the point where like I'm throwing up and everything.
So you would only take it Monday through Friday?
Yeah. Yep.
No weekends? I
No,
wonder
not
how
on the
many people
weekends,
did
not
that.
on holidays. You know, whenever I wasn't in school.
So then your Mondays are extra rough when
Yeah.
you go back and know you're gonna take your pill.
And then I remember it got to the point then like the doctors were like, well, just make sure he takes it on the weekends and stuff like that. And then it started with Ritalin. And then it's like they would try everything.
I stashed mine in the couch every chance I got.
Yep.
Really?
And I remember too, I just kind of quit taking it after so long. And that's where sports just kind of helped my ADHD.
Right.
And I remember one time I had friends over and he opened the cupboard and he seen like I had all this Adderall and the excitement in him. And I'm like, really? Like people get excited about that? And it's just so funny how, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's
I think it sets kids up for failure and addiction.
100%. Have you ever seen the molecule of methamphetamine and Adderall?
It's the same goddamn thing.
It is so similar.
Yeah,
It's
Sam
like
talks about this a lot too.
this much different
yeah.
it's just ridiculous.
That it's basically the same. Yeah. It is weird that that's something that's prescribed to kids regularly now.
5 years old too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've brought it up too. Just like I've seen this family with 4 kids, 5 to 16, all on Adderall. So
One little tiny extra line.
Yup. And a child who's 5. Yeah, it disgusts me. And then, you know,
That line is probably just like the salts that they put it in.
probably is.
you know, they won't ever do the study, but how many kids that were put on all these stimulant medications at super young ages, how many of them have an addiction today to one thing or another?
That is a study that should be done.
They won't do
There,
it, though.
you don't think there might even be one that's kind of like it? I mean, we could always do it.
My prescription always said D-amphetamine salts.
What's your hypothesis, or what's your? Yeah.
What's what percentage?
No, what are you hypothesizing? What are you saying? Like
Oh, every kid that was
70% of kids who took medicine as children now have an addiction? Like what
I'd say
what are we going for?
I'd say
here?
70%. Yeah, 70, maybe even higher. People with ADHD are already predispositioned to have an addiction
Right.
because people with ADHD already have like dopamine, like just problems with dopamine.
Mm,
You know,
right.
and dopamine has everything to do with getting up in the morning, your reward center.
Right. Of course. Yep.
And what is ADHD? If you think about it, at the end of the day, it's a made up
It's
psychological word.
well, for one, it's basically targeted towards boys
Yeah.
for the most part. I mean, boys are the ones that you hear more about having ADHD. Boys are supposed to be hyper and rowdy,
Yeah.
but no, they expect kids to sit at a damn desk for 8 hours a day.
And
And-
learn about stuff that we barely even use in the real world. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's proven that most adults can only learn for 4 hours.
Right.
After that, your brain's just kind of whatever.
I think everybody has their own version of ADHD.
Probably. Do you know why it's targeted towards boys?
I've never heard that. Well, I mean,
Not really, but I mean, even how many of your friends who are girls when you were a kid? Well, I suppose you don't really know when you're a kid, but
yeah. I mean, now that you say that,
there's just a lot more boys. I know I did look this up. I know I did look it up, and can't remember the numbers, but the boys were a lot higher.
okay, 12.9% of men and boys have it, as opposed to women and girls 5.6.
Yeah, like big difference, over double.
How many? But here's an even better question: how many people are misdiagnosed?
Right? How many kids get diagnosed because their parents want it?
Well, the teachers, the doctors, all of it.
Several studies have shown a strong connection between ADHD, drug abuse, and alcoholism. ADHD is 5 to 10 times more common among adult alcoholics than it is in people without the condition. Among adults being treated for alcohol and substance abuse, the rate of ADHD is about 25%. So, about a quarter of people with ADHD become dependent on alcohol, drugs.
That still seems like a lot.
Yeah.
That's 25%. That's of all kids in America. Is that just America?
Adults, I believe. I don't know. It was just on WebMD. Between 33% and 44% of young people with ADHD experience alcohol misuse or dependence. Research shows people with ADHD are 5 to 10 times more likely to have alcohol addiction than those with ADHD without.
See, and I think that if we look around, we will find that there are some different studies out there about some of these things that we're curious about. Because they also have to be aware of the impact that it has on kids and on the brain chemistry and the way it's going to impact growing up.
When you're 5 years old to 18, your brain needs nutrients, serious nutrients,
Right.
vitamins,
Mm.
healthy food.
Well, and that's the thing. Look at what
exercise.
kids are eating. They're not eating
Yeah.
healthy food. They're sticking stuff in the microwave and getting fast food. And there's so much stuff
Soda.
is classified as fast food now. Like, think about what's fast food. A lot of your restaurants and stuff are a lot of, like, microwave fast food kind of stuff,
Yeah.
too.
Dude, you can't even go to the grocery store and find half the shit that we ate when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all pre-made, pre-boxed, throw it in the microwave, feed it to your damn kid.
And if you want to buy anything that's organic and healthy, you do have to pay
Yeah,
a
it's
fair
expensive.
amount more. It's not, I mean, it's not crazy, but it is like a fair amount more. And how many families are doing that too?
I mean, the families with food stamps they're the ones, they can't afford it already.
Depends how many you're feeding.
Here's my take on food
You know what
stamps.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think if you're on food stamps that you should be able to max out your thing on candy.
well, no,
Just-
not energy drinks either.
Yeah, all that stuff. You
there
know.
should be some of that stuff definitely cut off.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing is like they allow matcha, but they don't allow wheatgrass.
Yeah.
Like I tried to
Right.
buy
It's-
wheatgrass and I can't buy wheatgrass with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
couldn't
one
buy
of them that are,
wheatgrass.
I'm one of them that are kind of guilty of buying soda and all that.
I mean, they let you. You're not doing anything
No,
wrong.
no, you're
It's
not.
like I tell people, if it's not against the rules, it doesn't matter if people get mad. You're not
Right.
doing anything wrong technically. So
I
And
mean,
that's-
my kids eat though.
That's what I too. Why is it all these prescriptions are, like that is okay, but if you do like a street drug that's
Mm.
considered that's not okay. There's no difference.
I think
No, there's
people
not.
just think it's cleaner from a pharmacy than from the streets. Is probably what it really
Stupidest
boils
thing
down to.
ever.
Like, not advocating, but what is the difference between Oxycontin and heroin? What's the difference between Adderall and meth? Like,
Not much.
Not much.
What were you smoking? Were you smoking flour or were you smoking
all of it.
carts
I was
and
smoking,
wax?
I was smoking dabs the most.
The most?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would usually roll a joint or a blunt and put some wax in it, coat it in keef, because I mean I always had a grinder full.
Well, you weren't messing around then.
So it was the easiest thing you've quit compared to like opioids and heavier things.
I don't know that opioids. That's I still can't quit that one. Well, I'm on Suboxone.
Right, that's what I
yeah.
right. Did you you didn't have any like weird side effects when you quit smoking marijuana?
Not really, but at the same time, I was ready to quit. Like, I was so sick of being tired all the time. And
Had you cut back before you quit? Because, like, I know if you cut back before you quit, it makes a big difference than just all of a sudden just stop doing dabs and stuff.
I was at the point where it wasn't even working for me. Like, I felt weird when I was not high,
Right.
Yep.
but I felt completely normal when I was high. And at the same time, I was tired as shit all the time.
Yeah.
So,
It affected your appetite too, I bet.
kind of, but eventually you don't really get the munchies anymore after a while. Or I didn't,
You sure there's not like, a
Unless
little
it
bit of denial in it
unless it just became normal.
that cuz like naturally us as addicts, like our brain is telling us that it's not that bad,
I mean, it could have just became normal.
I
to
read
me.
a book once. It was called First Thought Wrong. And it's one of the greatest books about addiction I've ever read.
Sounds interesting. But I know someone that actually got post-acute withdrawal, different symptoms from doing heavy dabs daily.
Not
and
only
then just
that-
abruptly trying to stop. And then he went and tried to get antipsychotics and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
it just made him all messed up. So then he tried to go back to dabs, and then that didn't work, and now
So put them
it becomes a mess, over the
unnatural
heavy.
substance.
People don't realize how much the heavy, like the high concentrates, really change your brain chemistry too. Like
Yeah.
that's a really extreme, like physiological addiction that you get.
And
Yeah.
that's all that's available now. Like, you can't.
Those
When's the last time
disposable
you've seen a bag
cards.
of weed with some seeds in it?
Doesn't
And-
happen
no.
anymore because nobody's gonna buy it.
Right. Like, I could not imagine. I freaked the hell out starting back then. And I did start with a bag of weed with seeds in it. Imagine the kids now starting out with the shit that we got now.
But they do,
They do. They start off, it's
and then
absolutely
that's where their
crazy.
tolerance goes instantly. Is to some 90% cart,
Yep.
not a 6% bag of some downtown brown.
Right.
Like this is a 90% cart that they're hitting.
Good old Mexican weed with the ties still.
That's
Mhm.
those days are so gone. Like anybody who's even like 18 to 25, us talking about that brick swag, that downtown brown, they won't even know what the hell we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You ever find the ties still stuck in the?
I
The
don't
shit
really
that
even
they used to
smoke
wrap it
anymore.
up with?
Since I
Mhm.
quit opiates and everything, my relationship with marijuana has completely changed.
Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah, that's another thing I learned too is it and when before I did use opiates many years ago and everything like that, and I was strictly only into like marijuana and alcohol. After I started abusing opioids, it was just like it changed my brain chemistry. Weed was just like, well, it is what it is. Like it,
Right.
it totally.
Cause yeah, I know you to not be much of a smoker at all, and it's weird to think of you as even a heavy weed smoker. Like I can't
Yeah.
imagine that, like where you would get agitated without it. Like that's not a
Oh,
world that I imagine.
It's funny. A lot of people say that too. When I tell them about my past, sometimes they're like, "What?
Mm-hmm.
What?" Like you
But
used to
sometimes
do-
it's hard to even picture you doing opioids and stuff too,
Yup.
just the way you are.
Yeah. Those carts. Especially when the when the lockdowns were happened and everything, and everybody had that free time, so much free time and like so much money and unemployment and all that. Like I remember I got really hooked on those carts, like bad.
They are. They can be
Well,
addicting.
yeah,
It's just so convenient.
that's where I was like almost thinking that they're putting something else in these.
I had an unlimited supply of them.
Yep.
I was selling so
Carts,
cards, whatever, edibles.
like the
Nice.
high 90% ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I would get at least an ounce of dabs at a time.
People do not realize how strong that is on your brain, though. What it's doing to your brain chemistry
it's
to
become
smoke
so normal
90% carts. Right. That's something that's actually interesting with, like, think about, like, when we were growing up, how, like, marijuana, the chronic 2001, all that, marijuana was, like, the thing.
Petty or it
And
was
then-
Schwags or not. What do we say? You got
Ladies?
that Ted Nugent
Oh.
or that
Yeah.
you had to spend that extra money to get those good nugs.
Right,
You
right.
know?
The
But then you
middies.
fast
And those weren't
forward,
even those.
like-
They're like mids
Yep.
today
Yeah.
compared to what is around.
right?
It's like people have top shelf just laying all over the place,
Yeah.
and it is crazy.
But when you fast forward though past 2010 and beyond, now the culture becomes opioids and Molly
The lean.
and then marijuana, lean. So now not only with marijuana, the kids are being pressed into the a much harder drug scene at a much earlier age.
Yeah, at a ridiculously young age. We talked about this before. There isn't a rapper that's a top 10 rapper right now that doesn't talk about lean.
Yeah.
That doesn't talk about perks. That doesn't talk about,
I actually seen that that's purposely being pushed by the big record companies, and
Yeah.
the big record companies also have stakes in prisons.
I was just gonna say, yep.
So
They're all tied together.
yeah,
They're all tied together, and they're really tied together because they're signing. What really sells now is the realest rappers, the ones that are like really out there. Probably gonna go to prison or end up dead after they sign that deal, and the record label gets all that money.
yep.
It's just crazy.
It's like a dead rapper is worth more than an alive one to the
Yep.
record companies.
But
Or
they
when they
know
go to
what they're
prison for
doing.
murder or whatever,
Mhm.
there's
Yep.
it's messed up.
Yeah, the labels have their fingers deep in that stuff.
Oh yeah,
That's for sure.
ruthless.
I
Yeah.
don't care. Everybody's just a dollar sign in their ass.
Yep.
I feel like that's where almost everything in society is a freaking
Yeah.
dollar sign.
Well, and there's so much that is so fake too. Like all those cars they have and everything, they don't really own them.
Well, yeah, look at Pac's story. Like Tupac, they were giving him the cars, giving him stuff, but then when he started asking about the money, where's the money?
Yep.
And then now all of a sudden, gone.
Yep.
Killed him. It's crazy when you look at what else was going on behind the scenes when some of these things go on.
I'm really interested to see how this all plays out with the Tupac thing, though.
Yeah, and it will.
Oh yeah.
It's not. I feel like a lot of it's entertainment for TV too, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Cause like they knew about him a long time ago already too.
Didn't you write a book?
That's what I'm saying. That was back in that was already 10 years ago. I think that was a long time ago already.
Also, this brings up a really good point too. Is with pot, there's people get it really really bad. It's called disassociate. So, derealization disassociation disorder,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more common than people think. I've been going through it for a while now, and
Mhm.
it comes in waves, and it's something that's really hard to explain, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely horrible.
I've been seeing a little bit about it on social media. It seems like it's a struggle for people.
I'm sure you've had it before. You just don't realize it. Like it's
Possibly.
way more common than people think.
What happens? Like,
It's almost like it's like an out of body experience. Like it's
is-
so hard to explain. Like
what is it called again?
nothing feels real. It's your body's defense mechanism when your body is going through like a lot, especially like being on, heavy duty opiates for many years and then now you're not.
It occurs when you always or often feel that you're seeing yourself from outside your body or you sense that things around you are not real or both. These feelings can be very disturbing. You feel like you're living in a dream.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
Yep.
it's
it's
almost like
persistent or reoccurring feelings. So it happens often.
So kind of like deja vu, almost.
well,
No, it's like you're watching yourself from outside of yourself.
yeah, it's like you're
It'd be
watching
like
a
if you were
bird's
doing
eye
this
view
and
of
you were
yourself.
watching yourself from over there doing this
Okay.
podcast. Like, it's an interesting thing.
You don't. Well, it's like, does it say how common it is? It's surprising how common it is.
Look
People
it up
with-
really quick.
Who have had high stress levels in their life too.
It says 2% of the population.
That's a lot.
Right. Oh,
Even
well,
how many
right.
people are out there? Yeah.
Like a lot of people say, like 1% of the world has
And
bipolar.
it's-
That's a lot of people.
It's
There's-
1 to 2%, and it's more common in young adults and people before the age of 40.
Then why do I get so lucky and keep finding that 1%?
Because when we go through things mentally,
Yeah, cut that
we
out.
change our brain chemistry. And I mean, think about, like when I think about myself, I made myself have a stomach issue by the choices that I wouldn't have to have this stomach issue, but I did it to myself through what I was doing,
Right.
And then when I started throwing up and stuff, it was already too late. The damage was done. All you can do then is try to heal.
You know how Jamie does that art? There's people that do art for different mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the best way to describe it. This is kind of
But
a way to explain it. Are you well? How's the Suboxone and everything working for you?
Dude, I have no cravings. Nothing.
Nothing, nothing at all.
And I'm only on 2 milligrams a day. So.
have you guys seen all the stuff going on with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Like his friend coming out saying this stuff about him and the other guy and seeing him in the room
And how him and P Diddy are.
yeah, just a lot of
His parties.
and
I take everything I hear
right, me
with
too.
a grain of salt.
But Will has just been going through it. Like he
Dude,
went from
he-
like being someone who's really loved to just really struggling, like with the way people see him. I mean, not struggling
Right.
financially. Like
Well, I tell you one thing. There's no question about it. He's an abuse victim.
mm,
She,
Yeah, she likes to embarrass the hell out of him.
mm,
I think she posted that
she's a bitch.
she still is in love with Tupac, and
yeah, she said some different things like that.
her daughter wrote a letter to Tupac asking him to come back. So
She had an affair with her
mom's
son's like best friend or something like that.
Yeah, like I don't know.
And then she yeah.
I've been seeing more clips of this guy coming out talking about Will and what he saw and stuff. So I was just wondering if you
It's-
guys have seen any of it.
And it sucks to see that because
I haven't
the
seen that in
Fresh Prince of
particular.
Bel Air, all of that, we grew up
That's
watching
what I'm
him.
saying is like when you look at the Fresh Prince and like he's just so loved on that. And
I guess I was just reading the other day that he was actually a really big dick to a couple of the actresses on Fresh Prince.
People forget that these are actors.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, their profession is to act like something they're not.
right, for sure. You can't
Something
trust the
else.
media at all.
Hell no.
No.
They've been talking about, even on like Boy Meets World little kid shows, they talk about that. Like you can't trust the media.
Dude, I used to
I
love
remember
that,
that stuff. Like
Those days, it's just, I really do feel bad for kids growing up now.
well, especially the ones getting their information on TikTok, like in
TikTok
Facebook
and-
and
Yeah.
X.
There
not
is
Twitter.
Oh, I know.
There is no more independent journalist anymore.
Right.
If they do try to do it, it's not an easy job.
Mm.
They always have a motive. now.
Yeah. So, the holidays are around the corner. So, what are you thankful for, JJ?
Yeah, I'm thankful for, to have a roof over my head, to have a family and friends I have, to be sober, uh, just I guess just getting by every day, and it's having real friends this day and age is a real blessing.
Right?
Yeah.
For sure,
It
man.
really is.
It is. I agree.
I've really realized that since getting sober is how many people are in my corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will when you are no longer doing drugs and a lot of those people disappear.
You know,
A lot will. Brandon, what are you thankful for?
Definitely my kids.
Yeah.
Just them healthy. And I don't know, man.
You don't know what you're thankful for? You're in school. You got all A's. You're, I
healthy.
mean,
I'm thankful. I mean, I did all that shit though.
yeah, but you still have to work at it. Like, you have instructors that help you get there. Be thankful for understanding instructors.
I guess I'm thankful for my kids, and I don't
and
really have
and
that.
understanding instructors. That's
My
what we're.
my
This is
parents,
and this is
my
a thing
friends.
too with especially me now being sober. It's like the whole gratitude, being thankful for the little things.
Right.
The
Like I
fact
mean, yeah.
that we're all alive and in one piece right now is a miracle in itself.
I mean, that's how I feel. Like, for me, I'm thankful that I have family and friends, people who support me, and that I'm, on the other side of the treatment program. I'm tapering,
Mm-hmm.
that I can sit down and do this and talk to friends and have these conversations. I have a great girlfriend who supports me too. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff to be thankful for.
Brooke is
I
awesome, man.
I'm thankful for my kids and for my parents and going to school. Finally doing something with myself.
Right, man. It's just the little things. So yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to say today? No?
No.
Everything good? Going to the holidays, just being thankful for what we have and moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I only get 2 days off for Thanksgiving. I guess this year.
Yeah.
Christmas I get 5 weeks off though.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, stay safe, and make good choices for yourself and those around you.
Do your research.